Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jen Trepic, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. This week, we're talking about BDNF. And a lot of you are like, huh? Is that drugs? Right? So it's not, but it might be just as interesting. So let's review what it is, what it does, and what we can do about it. So BDNF stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So it's a protein that's encoded by the BDNF gene, and it's one of the neurotrophin growth factors. So what this means is that it induces survival, development, and function of neurons, right? So unnecessary fun fact, it was first isolated from a pig brain in 1982. Maybe you need to know that, maybe not, whatever. I thought it was interesting. So anyway, BDNF is a naturally occurring protein in the brain that improves brain function, may lower your risk of mental disease. So it protects and repairs brain cells. It increases the growth of new brain cells. It improves learning, memory, and mood. Many researchers actually consider it a natural antidepressant. So, while it was discovered in 1982, there's actually been quite a bit of research. So, various studies have shown possible links between BDNF and conditions such as depression, schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder, Alzheimer's disease, Huntington's disease, uh, dementia, as well as anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa. And in a study with rats, increased levels of BDNF induced a change to an opiate dependent like reward state. So essentially, higher levels of BDNF mean lower risk of chronic depression, anxiety, and poor cognition. So, all the research essentially suggests that if you struggle with mental illness or poor brain function, you likely have reduced levels of BDNF. Now, to me, this begs the question, right? What can we do about it? So, first, we're going to go through a handful of things that we can do sort of lifestyle wise, right? And then we'll talk about some supplementation things or some additional support, right? So, first, we need to manage our stress, right? Stress reduces BDNF. So it's your personal daily habits to help you manage stress can quite literally improve your cognitive health, right? For more on this, go back to our episode, The Mess of Stress, and we can help you brainstorm through some of those tools. Now, one of those tools might be exercise, right? That can help us manage our stress. But in and of itself, exercise is potentially the fastest and most effective way to boost BDNF levels. It also improves learning and memory and mood. So there was a study in 5 weeks of mild intensity exercise. They saw significant increases in BDNF levels and reversed cognitive decline in old age rats. So there was also a study on younger men who qualified as sedentary, right? So just not much activity. And the study showed that high intensity exercise increased BDNF and improved memory. So interesting. Let's move our bodies, increase that BDNF. And then sunlight also plays a role. So one study found that BDNF increased in the summer and spring, decreased in the fall and winter. Participants with the lowest BDNF levels were more likely to be depressed. So this actually could be, like we've heard of seasonal affect disorder. So this could be what's happening there. And then, of course, not surprising, nutrition is super important, right? So on the nutrition front, we want to think about prebiotics and resistant starches. So I talked about this in our episode, America's Fiber Problem. Essentially, though, right, these foods are the fuel, what the good bacteria in our gut eat. And that good bacteria also converts these prebiotics into butyrate. We talked about butyrate in our butter nutrition nugget, but essentially butyrate has been shown to increase BDNF. So, not surprising, right? We talk about the challenges of the standard American diet. There are also studies that suggest that eating processed foods and sugar lead to lower levels of BDNF and impaired cognition. So, this next tool for BDNF is interesting, especially given, the quarantine life these last couple years. But we want to get social, really. So, research has shown that a stimulating social environment increases BDNF, reduces depression and anxiety. There was another study that showed that women who are friendlier to strangers also have higher BDNF levels. So again, who knows if there's like, a cause and effect or a correlation, right? But interesting nonetheless. So then sleep, right? Sleep, we could go back to our episode called Sleep on It for more on this, but for this conversation, sleep deprivation reduces BDNF, brain derived neurotrophic factor, right? Insomniacs tend to have lower BDNF levels, and higher levels of BDNF are often a sign that a person is sleeping well. Now, quick note on sleep, remember, it's not just the quantity, it's also the quality of the sleep that matters. So then foods, there are some studies that looked at pure blueberry flavonoids. So for 6 weeks, the levels that they gave people in the study were about the same amount as what you would find in blueberries, and they found significant improvements in memory by increasing BDNF levels and BDNF expression. Dark chocolate is another one. So again, I think this could be because of the antioxidants. They can trigger like neuroprotection by activating BDNF survival pathways, according to a study. So, with the dark chocolate, we want to make sure high quality organic dark chocolate with as little sugar as possible. There's also some people will say like red grapes and olive oil can help too. Um, I didn't love what I saw in terms of like the research on it, but it's certainly possible. Um, the red grapes potentially because of the resveratrol. So we'll get to that in a second. But the first one on as far as like supplements that I want to talk about is curcumin. This is like my number one. So curcumin is the most heavily researched compound found in turmeric. And many of you guys have heard about turmeric, right? The spice. Curcumin is what gives it that color. So, studies show that curcumin can increase BDNF production in the brain, leading to improved cognition and mood. It also protects the brain by activating BDNF. And if you want to geek out, right, go to PubMed. There's a 2006 study from the Department of Pharmacology at the School of Basic Medical Science from Peking University. The headline of it says, curcumin reverses the effects of chronic stress on behavior, the HPA axis, BDNF expression, and phosphorylation of Krebs, right? A lot of us have heard of the Krebs cycle. So this was actually like my first foray into learning about BDNF. And if you're looking at curcumin, you wanna make sure you're getting a bioavailable curcumin. Um, I'll give you guys a link in the show notes to the one that I've taken that that's what got me into this whole can of worms, if you will. A couple other things, green tea. So again, it's the antioxidants in the green tea have been shown to increase BDNF. Um, omega 3s. So we talk about omega 3s a lot for our brain. And we know a lot of people are deficient, right? So omega 3s have been shown to improve mood, sleep, learning, memory, and protect against psychiatric disorders, including depression, mild cognitive impairment, dementia, and Alzheimer's. So these results are likely because they've been shown to increase BDNF levels. There were also some studies after traumatic brain injuries that omega 3s normalized BDNF levels in rats. So, just really interesting. The red grapes, resveratrol. I feel like this was a buzzword a little while ago. We should do a nutrition nugget on it. But resveratrol is the antioxidant found in red wine. Remember this? So, it's known to help prevent neurodegenerative diseases, or the progression of such diseases, which may cause, or maybe because it has neuroprotective effects by elevating BDNF. It also actually can help improve fatigue. So that may be a thing for you right now. Magnesium is another one that has antidepressant effects by significantly increasing BDNF expression in the brain. So many people, I think a majority of people are deficient in magnesium. So this is another one that I would recommend. Maybe you've heard of NAC, right? N-acetylcysteine, and also L-theanine. So these are amino acids, and research shows that they can both increase BDNF. And then adaptogenic herbs. So we've talked about this when we talked about ashwagandha, right? Adaptogenic herbs sort of bring us back to even, right? They sort of even us out. Think about it like resilience against stress, right? So examples might be, right, we have the ashwagandha, also rhodiola for mood and energy, bacopa for memory, cognition, reducing anxiety, ginseng, we've heard of, right? That's actually been shown to prevent stress-induced decline of BDNF. Two more things. I got you guys. Okay, zinc. Zinc is an essential trace mineral that activates several hundred enzymatic reactions, including brain and nervous system function and neurotransmitters. Studies have shown that zinc has antidepressant effects because it causes a significant increase in BDNF levels and BDNF gene expression. So, the craziest part of this, an estimated 2 billion people around the world are zinc deficient, right? Multiple studies have shown um, that zinc deficiency impairs brain function in people of all ages. So, if you struggle with depression or anxiety, similar to BDNF um, levels, you might want to also look at zinc levels, right? So, zinc levels are often connected to depleting BDNF levels. And remember, zinc is also connected to that BDNF gene. Finally, DHEA. So, this is the most abundant circulating steroid hormone in the body, often referred to as the mother of all hormones because it's a precursor to many hormones in the body. So, DHEA is produced in the adrenal glands, the gonads, and the brain. DHEA is known to have neuroprotective effects and improve memory and cognition. One study showed that it increased acetylcholine and BDNF expression. So I know this was a lot, right? I'm going to put a link together. If you're interested, take a look at some of these. Of course, speak to your pharmacist, speak to your doctor. But I think it's just interesting. BDNF to me, brain derived neurotrophic factor, is not discussed enough. I think it's super relevant right now for these last 2 years. And the most exciting part about it is that we're not doomed. There's a lot that we can do to support our brain health and improve our brain function because BDNF can lower our risk of what would qualify as mental disease and also help improve memory and cognition and mood and all the things. So there you have it, guys. BDNF. How'd we do? Anything to add, my friend?
Absolutely. Any one of those things that you talked about there, I mean, that was a nugget and a half, but any one of those things you talked about in there could be the 1% that someone can pursue. Just one. You talked about
Yep.
zinc, you talked about BDNF, you talked about move your body. Anything.
Yep.
Pick one thing, pursue that thing. I personally have had great effects with SAD, with seasonal affective disorder,
Mhm.
because it used to hit me quite a bit. And I was sick for many years. But then when I started to take care of my zinc levels, my magnesium levels, and my vitamin D levels.
Mhm.
For me personally, those three things, one at a time, of course, and I figured out the right combination for me. It just changed my life. Not sick anymore. SAD doesn't get to me anymore. It's just a whole thing. So pick one. Go hard at it. 1%. That's it.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you again for being here.
It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Jen Trepic. Connect with me on Instagram at Jen Trepic. Actually, all social media, it's at Jen Trepic. The website is asaladwithasideofries.com. So wherever you'd like to reach out, please do share your key takeaways, your ideas, your questions. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me. Of course, if you're not already, join our membership program by going to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries to show your support for this podcast, this community, but most of all, support your health. Plus, you'll get this week's recipe for the crab stuffed mushrooms and access to your quarterly live session, just you and me, which remember, you can do it in January as long as you book it now. So until next week, everybody, remember, it's all about systems for our success and preparing for our failures or bumps in the road as we close 2021 and head into 2022. It's all systems go. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.